Namaskar, everyone. Good evening to everyone. Welcome again to our webinar series, Har Student Banega, Atma Nirbhar. My name is Munish Chawla, co-founder Jeevitam. We have been doing these webinars for the last almost 3.5 months now. This is our 14th webinar, which we are doing, where we are trying to reimagine the existing college placement process. This pandemic has given us an opportunity to reset the way we work and live. And one of the big opportunities which is coming our way is, can we relook at the way college placement is done? Every year, around 1 crore students, 10 million students come into the workforce, and they are actually staring at a bleak future, because they are still not able to travel. Corporates are not able to travel. They are at home. Their parents are not allowing them to move out. So we have been, in the context of the present crisis, we have been trying to reimagine the existing college placement process. And when we are doing that, we are asking basically 5 questions. Our questions are, can college placement drive happen in this ongoing crisis when the students are at home, colleges are closed, and corporates are not traveling? Can it happen in tier 2, tier 3 colleges? Basically what has been happening, we have been seeing the college placement drive happening in only tier 1 cities or tier 1 colleges. We are trying to say what it takes for us that every college in the country should have a college placement drive. That is something which we are aspiring for. College placement drive generally happens for MBA and BTech students. Again, we are trying to question why college placement cannot take place for BA, BCom, diploma holders, ITIs.
जगाई साथ ही जगाया यकीन, और इस यकीन को हकीकत बनाने में आपके साथ है जीवतम।
अब परिवर्तन लाना है, लक्ष्य तो हमें पाना है, होंगे कामयाब एक दिन, हाँ होंगे कामयाब एक दिन, होंगे कामयाब एक दिन।
आइए मिलकर भारत को कामयाब बनाते हैं।
सरकार की सहायता रोजगार के साथ जोड़ करके नई इकाइयों के लिए सरकार अब योजना बनाएगी। देश में रोजगार के अवसर बढ़े, उस पर हम बल देना चाहते हैं।
होंगे कामयाब एक दिन।
Thanks, Shrishti. I think welcome Papia once again.
Thank you, KG.
For all those who don't know Papia, I think it's time we know her. Exceptional leader who is currently joined us as the advisory board member of Jeevitam. Her last role was at Airtel. She's the executive vice president, human resources and chief learning officer at Airtel. Professional with more than 20 years of HR experience and varied experience. And for her, developing talent and human resources has been a forte. She has brought in a great gamut of change in the way change management is done, especially in coaching, learning, and leadership development. Her expertise, she's an ex-TIS person, and she has worked in various industries in our HR domain, the IT, the ITES, financial services, and telecom. A strong believer that reskilling and upskilling is not a choice anymore, but a necessity. She's going to talk to us in depth on the future of skilling and work in the new normal. So welcome, Papia. Welcome to this 15th webinar of ours. And I think you will bring in great value to the students who are going to be watching this, not only live, but recorded versions over time. So let me start by asking you a very simple question, kick off this conversation. Talk to us about your journey from being a student to the time you got your MBA. Tell us something about that.
So hello, everyone. Very, very glad to be here. Actually, we are talking about a long, long time ago. So I'm actually talking about the time around 94. And most of my education till college graduation has happened in Bihar. And I was a science student, and I dreamt of becoming a scientist. But there was so much during Mandal Commission happening at that point of time that everything got delayed. And when it got delayed, like there was absolutely no hope doing MSc or then looking at doctorate and looking at how do we really graduate. So then we are just hit by the thing that you always dreamt about that you will become was no longer available to you. And we have no clue of the world, what was happening, what was required, what kind of jobs were available. And then suddenly some friend's brother told us that the best of the jobs are available through MBA. And that is where the idea of giving an MBA exam came in. And MBA exam, I was very, very good at maths, and I think that was very common in people from Bihar, UP that point of time, because schools had very, very rigorous mathematics curriculum. And it just so happened in the all the entrance test I will clear the exams, right? So first time I remember that I was clearing all the readers. I got from IONS, I got XLR, I got any institute that you spoke about, I got it, right? And my father felt, oh, my daughter is so bright, everybody in the family started celebrating. But then but then in the interviews, I remember giving 13 interviews that year, and they were all of top or premier MBA campuses, and I failed all the interviews. And the reason that I failed all the interviews was that I didn't even know how to speak English. By the time I was actually translating the question in my mind and trying to make sense of it and then translating from Hindi back to English, they would have moved on. It was so frustrating. I was like, I'm no good. I don't know what to do and how it has to be, how the life will be. Now, MBA dream is also shattered. And that's the time I decided not to give up hope. And I actually started reading newspapers loudly in front of a mirror. The whole time was actually learning how to speak English or communicate your thoughts. That was one. Second was, reading everything that came my way. Because, like if I have to give answers for the MBA institutes, I have to cross that. And next year I got through the institute that I dreamt of. So like Curtis. And when I went there, I actually thought I was one big warrior who has fought her way out. And then because that was the surrounding that I was in, and I was one of in my friends, I did the best, and everybody came when I was coming to Mumbai to study, and they were like, great job, you got the best institute you wanted. My parents were very happy, relatives were congratulating, and all that happened. And I landed into TISS on 2000, not 2000, 1996. And when I land there, I realize I am not the only one. There are so many stories like this. So whatever I have done in terms of a hardship, there were different stories. There were different stories about some people did not have economic means to study, and then they studied. Some people didn't have access to good education. Some people, everybody had a different story, but they were equally difficult stories. So and the lesson for life for me was that things will come to you, but they may not come easily. And it is life that you have to fight for it. If you give up, it is your loss. And if you fight, it's your gain. So most of the time that things happen to us, it is that we make it happen.
I agree with you. Totally agree with you. And I think this is an amazing journey, which you have got. the way world sees you, Papia, as a very successful person, in the corporate domain. I know the kind of respect and regard you command in the industry, and I think you have made your way through with sheer hard work, persistence, perseverance, is something which is really students have to look into. And 13 interviews, failing it out and still making it to test. This is also a premier institute for benefit of everyone, Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I think it's one of the leading premier institutes of the country, and making it there is also not easy. And you made it there, and I think this you are an example for girls, especially. I have my daughters. I think they are the people who look forward for examples like you. So, women at the top, is something which you have into and you've been into. Uh, for everyone to know now, Papia we have been very lucky to have Papia on board on the Jeevitam journey as our advisory board member. And I've been, speaking to Papia on one topic, which is really, crystal gazing into the future, looking into how this whole pandemic is evolving, and how it is, making everything, the whole transition of the workforce, which is happening. This me and Papia have been discussing, and I get very interesting insights, a very new way of looking at things. So she calls herself as a catalyst of future of work. That is something which you call yourself. So the work from home, for example, is something new which is coming up. So Papia, not taking your thunder away. This is there. This is your time to crystal gaze into the future, and you look into from the skilling point of view, from the work opportunities point of view. These students right now are actually looking at what they are supposed to do now. Are they continue the same way as earlier, or there is something new which is happening? So why don't you share your insights on the future of work?
So one piece, like I feel that most of us should know, or the students should look at. It is a beautiful future. It's a very, very, and we have need to have a very positive and optimistic point of view towards the future. 10 years back, we didn't had millions of jobs. Those are available now, right? Almost every field that you look at, there is a job available and there is a livelihood available. It is the question of whether you are serious about it or not.
Yes.
So I'm, one of my friends who's based in US, and his daughter was very, very sharp and studied really well, and there were parents had huge expectations from her. She got the best of US universities. She is a Berkeley graduate, and she got into a very, very post job at the highest salary that one imagines, right? But then it's her vision that point of time was to actually come and learn yoga at India and teach yoga to the world. And she is doing a very, very good job at it, right? Earlier, I don't think that at our generation, those options of following the passion was there. I
Yeah.
have my nephew who's a law graduate and has done integrated law, but then he really is passionate about music, and he's taking break from law and following his passion in music, and he's doing well. I would not, for me, doing well is not about how much you are earning. Doing well is following your passion and getting your financial freedom. He has his financial freedom, and I really admire him, because most of us talked about saying that, are you mad, you have done your law and you are following your passion in music, right? But everywhere the opportunities are, like if you look at fitness, there are so many youngsters now who are taking the career in fitness, right? You have youngsters who are taking their careers in music. There you have youngsters who are taking their careers in travel. So any field that you speak of or look at, there are more and more jobs are available. So jobs or livelihood in future of work is not a challenge. Right?
Okay.
What is important for everyone and the students to be looking at it in saying that what do I really want to do?
Yes.
Because unless you have an aspiration, unless you know what you want to achieve and what you want to do, it becomes, it is like asking, not knowing where to go. Then you will catch any train and you will not land to the destination. So it is on you to aspire and say that what is the destination that I want to go. And to aspire and to go to that destination, you also need to ask yourself that question, saying, what are the destinations available? Right? Even if we are planning our travel, or if you're planning our holiday, we look at 5, 6, 7 different options, right? So similarly, for your career, you need to look at what are the options that are available.
Yes.
And then you put in saying that these are the strengths that I bring in, this is the skill that I have, this is what I absolutely love to do. And with all that combination, where will I really fit in and I will be best at it? Yeah. And when you do that, that exercise has to happen very early. And when you set up that this is the destination and this is the goal that I need to go in, you need to then, put in everything that is required to achieve that goal. And not give up in the middle, if it does not happen, or saying, oh, it is too tough, or I really not allowing yourself the chance to dream. I think that is where we fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have, I have people who say that I took BA because of the numbers that I got. I couldn't get science, I couldn't get commerce, and then I took BA. Right? You took BA, that's okay. First of all, if you BA is the only reason is because you got less marks, then you need to ask questions that why didn't you study well, so that you got a bad marks. I'm going to be very blunt about it. It is your responsibility to do well to the education that your parents have been, arranging for you. Whether it is easy or difficult, I think that's the responsibility of every student to do best in the education that they have been provided. But if you have got BA now, what are you doing to do the best in the BA? I will give you an example that in our times, the girls who didn't get any subject well for honors will do home science honors. And it was actually looked at a home science honors, just, that is basically to get a stamp of saying that the person has graduated, right? And they were actually looked at saying that home science honors. And now I'm not going to take the names, but now we have India's topmost dietitians, the celebrity dietitians, who earn much more than you and me, Munish. Their hourly fee is higher than any Big Four consulting fee. And they are home science graduates. They have done doctorate in home science. It is the question of what you make out of that subject. What skills that you take out of it and you build on it. Right? We need so many teachers, so many good teachers. And there are just so many jobs available as teachers. Why are people not opting for it? So the question to ask is, am I just expecting that I will graduate and some job is going to land at my feet? It's not going to happen. But if you create a goal and say, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do, I think that now in the future of work or the new world of work, the best news and the most optimistic news is there is job for everyone.
Wow.
Even if you are looking at saying that there is nobody employing me, right? I was employed for 22 years. No, in the middle 3.5 years, I was on my own. But most part of 22 years, I was employed by a corporate. Now I'm not employed by a corporate, but I know 6 months down the line, just doing what I love to do, I will be making almost equal earning. At, and I was amazed. I actually first time went into the sites of, of freelancing. And as I was saying that there is a freelancing available for everything. And it is the question of your being good. If you are good and you're providing your freelancing services, somebody will pick up, and the better you do, the better you become. So job is not a question anymore. But what are you going to do for the job is the question that I think every student needs to ask themselves.
Okay.
Very, very valid. Okay, I think what you said is very true, that jobs aplenty exist. And let me also share with you, I think based on your hearing about you, two social entrepreneurs from Jharkhand have just joined us last week. There's a girl called Kajal and there's a girl called Nisrin. Now, Kajal is in her second year doing botany, and her dream is to do PhD and teach. Those are the kind of goals people must set for themselves. This young girl, her father doesn't live with them. She has an 8-year-old brother who's in class 8, and she lives with her mother. But her dreams in her eyes are very clear. She knows where she has to head. She knows what she has to do. And that is the kind of aspiration one must have. And that leads me to the next question for you. Kajal, this world will exist. What do you say? Why should people aspire high? Why should they take small steps and always remember the sky is the limit? I think I'm sure you can talk about that.
Yeah, I'm saying, that really admire what the abundance that we have now, right? And I would like to take some examples. During my career, I have seen, no, MBA does not happen to everybody, MCA does not happen, engineering and other things. It is not happen, and it does not require to happen. That is the beauty of it. Okay. I have met so many youngsters, so many people that we have recruited, in my Airtel experience, I will, KG. And they have just joined us after graduation, as, as a friend, Airtel friends, in the stores. And most of them, uh, we will find that they're continuing their education. And so many of them have written back, and while when I used to go to the visit the stores, they will actually raise their targets and say, ma'am karke dikhayenge, ma'am karke dikhayenge. And some of them will say that oh, they want to become a retail head, which is the highest position that they can go through. And we have both the case studies. There are people who had joined us as CROs, and they continued their education, and continued not only education, continuous learning, right? Then they became a store manager, then they became FRM, then they became zonal managers, and they are on their way to become retail heads. So we had those people who earlier thought that graduates can't become retail heads. You have to be a management graduate getting in. It took time, but if they didn't leave and they could dream about it, it happened, right? The second piece that I observed, and that is the conversation that I have been having with many of my counterparts and different organizations, that organizations, we have different entry points, right? And the biggest challenge currently that is happening, so you will have engineers entering at a different level, MBS from some institute entering at this level, premier institute entering, all the different levels are created. And the challenge now is that sometime you will find that an engineer who had entered the level and his job does not require engineering, it requires actually analytical skills and all, is doing better than an MBA. But his entry level was very different. And people are okay to question and give them the level or give them the salary they truly deserve, not asking what is the education. And over the period of time, I think the hype of level of education, it can give you only that much. It can give you the entry. But what you do with it is completely with you. You can enter at a different level, make the difference, and move very, very fast. People are not bothered then that where have you come from.
Yes.
This was not possible 5 years back, 10 years back, but this is happening now. More and more social entrepreneurs are coming from the places where they are not the best of the educations that they have got. But what they have done is because of the skills, life skills they have built in, or the kind of passion they have brought into the life, they have been successful, they have been able to bring in. So the things that Munish, you were talking to me about skills,
Mm.
I think one success factor and one continuous factor that makes a difference is, are you a learner? Are you constantly learning and then delivering performance based on that learning? So when you're learning, what are you learning about? What are the skills that you need to? So one way of looking at skills is that you actually search and say, where is the demand? And can I build in the skills? And it is important that when you are searching for the demand and building the skills, look at whether it is something that resonates with you, something that you are really interested in, something that you are happy doing. Don't do it because there is a advertisement saying that if you build that skill, you will be the CEO in 5 years. Please do not go for those, because anything that promises short term, sorry to say, does not really give you the kind of results. But look at the skills based on the demand, and there has to be a match with your strength, what you are good at, and then go for the skilling. Skilling is becoming very important, and I think everybody, there is one factor that is coming in is now is digital.
Yes.
You can't stay away and say that no, I am in a traditional job and it will be digital in some form or the other, right? Even when we are using the simple applications like Zomato and all, right? Even then there is a digital behind it. So it
Yes.
is better, you can't say that I will be blind. You have to build up some capability around digital. Don't get me wrong, when I say digital, I don't mean that everybody needs to know the superior technology and coding. When I'm saying digital is the appreciation of the digital, how digital works, how things connect, how things work. Those are the things you certainly need to know if you are going to survive and do well in the digital world, right? The third skill that I think that you must look at is what we call as life skills of how do you communicate, how do you negotiate, how do you, like basic skills. Because if you are not knowing how to communicate, how are we going to even tackle the interviews that come your way? And then it becomes an excuse, oh, I didn't know, I know so much but I'm not able to say. So you have a choice to have an excuse, or you have a choice to really prepare yourself for. So when it comes to communication, and that is something that I've learned very, very hard way. So I'm just, going to put it. Communication, your basic analytical skills. Don't tell me you are a graduate and you don't have good business aptitude. Irrespective of the subject that you are in, you need to have a basic computational skill. Nobody is going to give you their store, their offices, their branches to run if you don't know how business work, how the analytics is, and how the computation happens for the business. The earlier you learn how to read profit and loss statement, the better it is for you. If you have to enter into the business, or even if you have to become a social entrepreneur, start something on your own, computational skill is a must, and everybody should have it. The third piece that comes in is work ethics and discipline. Because if you have work ethics and discipline, you enter the field, you will do well wherever you are entering them. Fourth skill is the networking, because it is the networking through which you come to. I came to know of Munish because of networking, right? And there are just so many people that we come to know, and because you learn maximum through the network. You learn with the people, but the gang of friends always ganging together and doing all kind of stuff is not qualifies
As
as
network.
networking,
Yeah.
right? Networking has to be something that is meaningful, that gives really adds on to the value for you. And just to be very, very abreast of what is happening around the world. And just do not focus on Bollywood, Tollywood news, but you also need to really look at what is happening in business, what is happening around the world. I will really encourage people, because now everything is available, encourage you to have a practice of reading good books, reading good newspapers, reading the material that is available to know that what is happening around the world, what kind of jobs are available, what kind of career options are available, who are the people who are making the difference, because that is where you will be able to choose what you really want to do and what's the difference that you want.
Yes. KG.
I think well said, Papi. I think Munish, over to you.
Okay.
Get Papi share a different facet of
You
life.
know, I will urge everyone, who are on this thing, today's webinar, I think to go to the recording and hear what Papaya has just now told, Believe me, I have been 28 years in the industry, and these are insights which Papaya has provided to all of us today. These are the insights, basically, a person with so much of experience, so much of HR perspective, meeting and talking to so many people. It is basically a summation of all that given to you in this particular, the answer which he gave in terms of skill sets, also which is required. See, one of the Papia, we this is a very unprecedented times. I am a traveler, and I travel a lot, but for last 9 months I'm at home. I'm working from home. Okay. And I every day right now for me is a challenge is right now, uh, how is this whole situation going to evolve? Because my whole this thing is coming out. Will corporates hire people who are working from home? Okay, are they open to do that? Because if Twitter is saying, if TCS is saying, if Facebook, all the big corporates are saying, that you are going to work from home. Okay, how is this work from home thing which is being taken up by companies like Airtel, big companies? How is this future of work? Because I'm still on the future of work, which is going in my head. How
Yeah.
is this work from home? Distributed workforce is what I call it. How is it shaping up in your mind?
So what we this is a point of discussions across all the forums, like whether it is going to be complete work from home or it will be completely back to office. What is emerging is that there are pros and cons to both, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because one of the and what we experienced and we spoke about in Airtel, we felt that when it was a work and from home connectivity, somewhere the spirit, the team's spirit, the soul, that does not get addressed, that does not get I can give you my personal example, because when we opened offices and we went back to offices, there was like a lot of kind of a lethargy, saying that, oh, I am so habituated now working from home and I'm going back to office. But when I started going back to office, I started meeting my team members, there was a very different level of energy.
Yeah.
And that is what humans do, right? And most of the organizations are now realizing that even at workplace, when people come together, in college when people come together, in school when they come together, there is a chi, there is an energy that gets developed, and that is very, very important. There is a connection, there is a human bonding that is very, very important to happen, right? If you will also realize that with the COVID and with work from home, we are finding more and more cases that are coming of people having anxiety or other problems, right? Most of the companies have now gone for counseling services, because when you are alone, see, it is not satisfying the human need for connections. Because when you are having a Zoom call, you are most probably having a conversation that is around the business or around the work. So the way I would say that this is going to happen is will be a mix. There is no, and there will be, it is not black or white, and it will be black, white, and all shades of gray, in between. And we will, that, and the best part of it, in my view, is that it will have opportunity for all, right? One of the there will be people who will be very happy and will be able to work continuously from home. There will be people who would do sometime office, sometime home. There will be people who will be using their passion, traveling all across the world and still being available and working. So you will, some people will work for 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, like what I aspire now, that I should be working more than 20 hours a week. And there will be people who are saying, no, this is the time I want to slog and I want to do 70 hours a week because I'm at home, I can do it, right? So there will, it will be more customized for what people want, and the options will be available.
Okay.
That's the way I see it, because at least I find everywhere there is a question that is coming in: when is it going to get over so the work from home gets over, right? So it is, all the people entered in it, it was not the pleasant situation, but once you have got entered into, there is an inertia that has gone in. People are thinking, oh, what will happen if the work from home gets over? But there is also a need. So I would say that it will be a combination. It will never be a two separate.
I think it's a follow-up question of this work from home only. We at Jeevitam are looking at creating largest distributed workforce, in the country and the world going forward. And work from home is going to be one thing which we seriously look into. Today, if you are working in a Bay Area, and this is way I am looking, and this question is specifically for you on that. Today, those people who are working, say, for Google or so for anyone, Google has said you work from home for next 1 year. Am I right? Okay. Now, if you are working from home for 1 year, am I right? People will get used to it. Of the systems that will evolve around it, processes will evolve around it. Because 9 months back, if you would have asked the legal or compliance or a business guy also, can I work from home? He would have said, shut up. Okay, what are you talking? But it's now a possibility which is working. So, are there opportunities for students, overseas opportunities, staying in India and working for overseas companies, an opportunity?
Yeah.
Second is, women, there are 17%, 27% of women working, and this is the lowest, one of the lowest in the world, is an opportunity for women to come in, you being a woman, to come in, because the environment outside is still not very conducive for women to go out and work. Is it allowing an opportunity for women to get in? So this is still, because there are a lot of students who are both with us.
So the way I would say is, you are absolutely bang on that there are opportunities that have come in earlier also, like when we talk about many of our offshore centers, right? Offshore, or whether it is a BPO, KPO, or any kind of a captive centers that have come in. So some of the work has got offshored. And now, because of the COVID, that offshore operation is getting managed for people working from home, right? Most of the contact centers are now, have IVR, and the people are actually operating behind from home, right? So it is not to, it is, there is nothing that it is just for, the people have to be in offices. And even in Airtel, like we used so many BPOs, serving, or our contact center, service centers, and everybody was working for home, right? However, and if you look at, I would give my, even doctors are now doing video consulting.
Yes.
Right. So if doctor is doing a video consulting, how does it matter where the doctor is operating from? Right.
Yeah.
Similarly, we have tutors.
Yeah.
Who are teaching kids across the globe. It is the question of, knowing what is the syllabus and how the teacher needs to teach. So
Yes.
if the tutor is teaching a kid 101 or in a class, how does it matter where the teacher is based? Right? So almost everything, wherever you are, there are two ways of dispersed workforce. One is of delivery can be virtual, And when there is a delivery, needs to have a physical fulfillment, right? Wherever there is a kind of a delivery possible virtual, the question should be asked, why not? It's not a question of why, it is a question of a why not.
Okay.
And organizations will start looking at it more, because they will look at from the perspective of saying that they have an option, and it's a very, very good option. Or I think the global workforce will actually emerge from it.
Yes.
And across the globe, the other piece that is in my view is happening is people don't want full-time jobs. That's a trend that I am getting in many places, like they want to have, and more so now in this kind of a situation. So if the people are not wanting a full-time job, then why there will be more people required? So if a job has to be done, there may be, if a half time, then there will be two people required for it. So there will be more jobs that will come for freelancers. There will be more jobs that will be coming to people who are willing to do it, and from wherever they are placed in the world. So that's a trend, and there is a clear trend, at least in the Medicare. There is a clear trend in education. So, and with the Medicare and education, I think there is a prediction that we can have, that it will impact your livelihood also.
I think I'm excited, to hear that, you believe, we are on the way to create a global workforce. Today, I think that's something which is really, really a word which is it's just stuck with me now. Global workforce is something which we are creating, and this whole crisis has made one world as one. So very soon, students are going to get opportunities from across the globe, not only India. Which part of the country you are, it actually is not going to matter. KG, over to you.
So there is one question in Q&A where, there is a question, it is anonymous, so I would have loved to know the person's name. That is about saying that if you have not done an MBA and you want to enter an MBA job, how do you go about it?
Yes.
So there is one very, very close is CA and CS. I've seen people entering into CA and CS. We have engineers entering into the management jobs because of the jobs that they have. And actually, whichever field that you enter in, you can always go into a managerial level job with your experience. So what management education brings in is your understanding of high finances, understanding of marketing, understanding of how your people, how do you manage people, understanding of how the supply chain. So these are what the management education does, is packages it in 2 years, right? If you are not going through management education but you have experience that allows you to look at this, you can grow into the manager level position. It is not necessary that you will have to do management. It will take a little bit more time because you are building those experiences, and you will have to choose the experiences carefully and learn in those experiences. The very, very good news now is almost everything is available online.
Okay.
So if you are a seeker of knowledge, our Government of India portals have everything that has come in online. You have Indira Gandhi Open University has material that is there on MBA. You can do an online MBA to get the knowledge that if you require. And I was really surprised, Munish, to see this time that even Harvard and Stanford, which are the Ivy League colleges, had made their material available without any cost.
Yes.
If you are a seeker of a knowledge, this is the time to live. Almost everything that you need to know is available free. It is almost like a sunlight. There was a saying that the best things in the world are free. We have, because of thanks to COVID, entered in an area where best thing in the world are free. If you are seeking, at least for knowledge seeker, I can say it. Like I I can't say that how many things are available free now, right? Even this webinar that you are getting, right?
It's free.
We are reaching out to you and saying that these are the ways that you can find your jobs, right?
Yeah.
Which era it would have happened.
Actually.
But then the thing is that how do you make, so get the knowledge of from the free resources that are available and experiences that is in. With the experience and knowledge, see, I'm going to put something very crudely. The relationship between an organization and an individual is what do you bring into the organization, and it is completely about a contribution.
Okay.
If you are able to, it is like the contribution or a value that you bring in, and this is the level or money that you get in. So if you can just keep on increasing the contribution and the value, they have no option but to give you back, because
Yes.
you become very precious. When you start looking at a relationship from that angle, that if you are bringing into the value of any relationship, you will get the returns. So MBA or non-MBA, if you have not done MBA, you have just a graduate, you have entered, learn it and do the job experiences. All organizations have internal job postings. You apply, and if you have all the knowledge and experience that is required to be a manager, I don't think any good organization will have objection to it.
I'm with you. KJ?
Perfect. Yes, so I thought, well, I think the person whose name was not known, he's got the value to the question he asked. But more importantly, I think our campaign is about student banega atma nirbhar, and we want students to become independent. And what are your views of financial independence for students?
So financial independence, as I said, there are three options, KG, the way I look at it. One is, of course, getting a jobs. And as I said, there are millions of jobs. This is the best time that anybody could be. Second is that one can be freelancer. If you have a skill you are passionate about, just enroll. There are enough and more freelance opportunities that are available. And third is that why can't you start your own entrepreneurship? And entrepreneurship is something that is, the best, I would say. And I just wrote about it, like when my grandfather used to always say that, are you a job seeker, seeking jobs and deciding how much you are going to earn and follow your life goals from that, or you are a job generator giving livelihood to others? And he used to always talk about it, and but somehow our education qualifies it so much, talking about the job that we get. So it's still in my mind the value that you can create by starting your own entrepreneur venture and giving jobs and livelihood and financial independence to others is very, very important. So the choice is yours, passion is yours, because also with the entrepreneur comes a lot of responsibility. So it sounds easy, it sounds freedom, it is not. You are the CEO and you are the guard, security person, everything, that is there for the organization. It is a tough job, but if you can do it, there is nothing like it. So it depends upon what choices you want to make. But be financially independent. Have financial goals. Learn it very early in life. Even if your parents love you and they can afford to carry you for longer time, ask yourself a question: why should it be like that?
I think these are all important things, See, there is something when you are talking about entrepreneurship, today, many of the students, which we speak to, and one of the things is they want to create an impact. They want to serve the society, serve the nation, serve for a cause, which is there. So this is the emergence of something called social entrepreneurship. You spoke about it, in one of your answers, one of the things which is there. What is this social entrepreneurship all about? Is it something wo, people have this social entrepreneur's mind, wo jhola bag leke and kurta pajama pehen ke aap kuch kaam kar rahe ho. Is it social entrepreneurship? What is the social entrepreneurship in today's context?
Social entrepreneurship in today's context is where the motive of the business, where the purpose of the business is to do a larger good to the society,
Hmm.
right? And then earning from it. So I am not talking about, so there are some organizations who claim completely that they are not profit making, and there are, but social entrepreneurs can be profit making. Right? It is just that how do you see the goals? Your goals are not profit making goals, your goals are to make a larger good for the society, for the economy. Right? I would call a social entrepreneur, like I know of somebody who started a courier service for people who had the disabilities. He employed all the people of disability and said that can we have a courier service, right? For me, that is a social entrepreneurship. We have people who got together and said that we have so much of a mental illness that is coming in India. Can we have a counseling services where there are people available on the call? For me, that is a social entrepreneurship, right? When you are getting counselors, you are getting so many counselors' job, and you are doing a larger good where you are really helping people with anxiety. I would even call sometimes a Jeevitam a social entrepreneur, because the way the goal is that looking at and saying that how do we provide livelihood to millions, right? How do we bring jobs to the millions who need it, right? So it is, in my view, that is also a social entrepreneurship. So anything that you do which is in larger good for society or community that you are in, it's a social entrepreneurship.
I think this is amazing, what you have got, for all the students, right now, this is my last question to you. Okay. For all the students who are right now, looking to enter the workforce, their degrees are still not there with them. Okay. Their parents are not allowing them to move out. The areas where they are living in a tier 2, tier 3 city where around them there are not many opportunities. What are they supposed to do? Because this is the biggest segment. One last word for them, for this segment.
The information, seek information, you know find opportunities. You are so many of you can make a group and say that can we really find the opportunities, where are the opportunities coming from, right? And that is the job basically. If I look at even in engineering and MBA, there is a placement cell, right? The job of a placement cell is actually to find the opportunities,
Yes.
right? Wherever it is coming in, and get that placement done. Similarly, in every college, can you create a placement cell, you know, and invite all the forums? And Jeevitam can be one of the forums that you ask people to register so that they can, have access to livelihood. But you can also start ask big recruiters to directly come to you, right? You can also look at all the, have a poster where all government vacancies are getting organized. A little bit of effort. There are just so many vacancies that come in. But what happens is that if in tier 2, tier 3 cities, we are still not having all the information. So if you go into the ministry portals in Government of India, you will find that most of the jobs come in the bank jobs. Bank jobs, you will know that these are I'm talking about the largest recruiters, right? So you have to ask questions and saying that how do I create for my college, my place, the kind of jobs that are there. And if each one of you take what interest that you have and find out that what are you going to do. As I said, do a full thing around teaching. In my view, that's a beautiful job, right? What is it required to be a good teacher, right? And find out what is required, what BEd needs to be done, what is requirement, where do you apply, how do you get the jobs. Similarly, if you look at and say that, no, I want to have a medical caregiver, There are just, we have this option thinking that medicines, there is only doctor and nurses. There are so many jobs that are available in hospitals.
Yes.
What is it that, what kind of jobs are available? Be curious and go and say what kind of jobs are available in hospitals. What kind of jobs are available in banks, in insurance agencies. So that curiosity is important.
Yes. KG.
I think we could not have had a better hour compared to what we had today, Papia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us. It's important, and it's humbling to see a person who comes from one of the states like Bihar, which has always been called the Maru state, which people forget that the best university in the world, Nalanda, sits in that state. The oldest city in the country in terms of Patliputra is in that state. Buddha's ashes today lies in a museum in that state. So Bihar by itself is a cauldron of excellence, historical significance, and you come from there. And what better example could we have had from a person who rose from there, who learned to speak English by translating Hindi to English in the head. And there are plenty of you, and I am a firm believer that higher education has to be in local languages. English is a good connecting language, but need not be the only language to connect. But that's the challenge that we have, and you have surpassed all those challenges and reached the heights and broken the glass ceiling. And what is glass ceiling anymore for you, Papia? You are going to lead us at Jeevitam too with your advice, and we are going to see large strides made. We are a social enterprise. We have a social mission. We want to provide millions of jobs to the world, to the country, especially the hinterland. And we are an enterprise because we want to be profitable. We want to be both. And thanks a lot, Papia, for being with us here, and hope to see you lead us into greater success in the days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
And I
Munish.
will now take.
I think we want to see the placement drive slide.
Yes, right. And here is the choice for people who are watching the webinar who want Jeevitam to come and conduct a digital college placement for you. Very simple, just write into us at university@jeevitam.in. You have these details mentioned there which you can send to us, and we'll reach out back to you and explain to you how it is to be done. So please reach out. As Papi always says, the curiosity is to learn, and we will help you learn, and we'll help you do a college placement at your end. So depending on your thoughts, please come and join this entire journey. And as we move on the same journey, let us understand that the journey is never done alone. We have social entrepreneurs who join us in this game. This is not a paid job, but one thing I can assure you is going to be a job extremely challenging and interesting, because mentors who have cumulative experience of about 100 years are going to help you and help you succeed. And last week, we have currently about 13 entrepreneurs working with us. Last week, 8 more joined in. And those 8 are from different parts of the country. It's none of them are only from metros. The Bangalore, there's people from Jharkhand, people from Rajasthan. So, and the great news about this Papia is that whenever we have called people for becoming social entrepreneur Jeevitam, more than 95% of people responding are women. And very heartening, because these are the people who really want to contribute to a cause. They are studying, and they have really helped us with hours during the week beyond their study hours to work on this mission. Extremely grateful to them. Anybody else who wants to join this mission, more than welcome. All you have to do again is send a mail to university@jeevitam.in, and you also have in the chat box Google form shared with you. Please fill up the Google form, and we will come back to you and connect with you, and also tell you what are the different ways you can help us further this mission. So go to the chat box, look at that Google form, cut and paste it somewhere, and fill up the form and send it out to us right tonight. As early as this Sunday, we'll reach out to you and speak to you. So the challenge is not about do you have the ability to do work or not? The challenge is about, do you want to be a part of a mission and get mentored by people who have a cumulative 100 years of experience? Now, regarding jobs, there are plenty of jobs. I think Papia has said this again and again. There is no dearth of jobs. We have more than 35,000 jobs currently on our portal. And I think that the big question now is not about are the jobs there. The question is, do you want to become Atmanirbhar? Do you want to go for these kind of roles? And the roles are a dime a dozen across various sectors. So I will tell you the answer is very simple, and Shrishti will take us to the next slide and tell us how simple it is for a person to get into a job. All you have to do is call one single number. It's in 21 different languages. No, if you don't have internet, you don't have data connectivity, that's not a problem. Just call in and register yourself, and technology will take over and connect you to a job. So please, please, please remember your financial independence. You stop using parents as your ATM has to be your ambition. And I'm sure all of you are going to do that. Join us. And I see 8 of you telling that you want to be a part of the social entrepreneurship role of ours. And we're more than happy to connect with you over the weekend and speak to you. Thank you very much. And as we end, Shrishti will take us through the simple answer to get a job.
Papia, thank you for this particular whole session. One of the best sessions we had. I think a lot of you spoke from your heart, and the more importantly, people got to understand what is the future of work which is coming out. How are they supposed to get their skill sets? What are the skill set required to be future ready? That's the way which is there. I think for me, there are a lot of takeaways personally. I always, whenever I interact with you, I take a lot of things from you. And I'm so happy again, being part of the Jeevitam journey. Jeevitam has single mind line vision, is to make her student atma nirbhar. I think these webinars are one way to do it out. We are on our way to create one of the biggest virtual summit with the theme, helping the youth of our country finding livelihood. I think that's where we are now. I'm announcing that soon we are going to come out with a big virtual summit. These webinars has given us the confidence to do it out. We have a single-minded lakshya to help students find livelihood, sustainable livelihood, whichever part of the country they may be, whether they're in a village or they are in a tier 2, tier 3 city. Finding livelihood is a mission which we carry. Helping the youth, their confidence, their sustainable livelihood. Her student banega na Atmanirbhar is going to continue. We are going to come back again next week, same time, 5 to 6 p.m. Thank you very much. All the best.
Photo.
Yeah, photo, please.
Papia to come back. Papia left.
It's
That's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you.